care what people will say. They nearly got a draw. They could have got a point. This is the champions of the country we're talking about. And they were just totally negative until 5 minutes to go. Now, when you say we see too many games like that, I think he has an obligation. Now, maybe Chelsea fans will say no. He's got an obligation to win.
I don't think they will. And it's very
a Chelsea fan went to see
understand
that tonight.
What was being said by those Chelsea fans that were stood in the rain behind that goal, having made the effort to travel from the capital city 220 miles north to watch their team play. Compete would have been all right, but
they didn't take any part in the game. To be brutal honest, and like you said, I think for the current champion of the country, that was not the level what we want to see. I think the goal came very early on. Mistake from Christensen. Alonso didn't expect it. The mistake. 1-0 City, and after that, there was no attempt to come back into the game. In the 84th minute was the first time Chelsea pressured Manchester City in the opposition half.
You hated it when I said to you 18 months, 2 years ago, was it now, that Chelsea's players had down tools. You don't like that phrase, but I think it was right. I said to you, they've down tools and they're playing Mourinho out.
You're right.
Now, there is another phrase in football, he is trying to get the sack.
Oh, you mean the coach?
by behaving as he has this year, by putting on a performance like that today, by making baffling changes, puts a centre forward on 10 minutes from the end, leaves Morata on the sideline.
Strips off Morata.
What point was he trying to prove?
Tells him to put his jacket back on, then brings on Emerson. I mean, I really don't get it. And the thing that I would say is that the way you can judge a football match and the players that have played in it, right? I bet you there is not one Chelsea player enjoyed that tonight. What he was asked to do, what his mates were asked to do, what the team were asked to do. I don't mean that they played badly. I mean, I bet they never enjoyed 1 second of that football match.
They had 44 minutes in the second half to ask a question and didn't, and having gone behind.
For me, they didn't have a game in midweek. They had a whole week to prepare for that game.
Yeah.
And in the second half, I think you saw Manchester City. They got tired. I mean, it was a big week for them emotionally and physically because you're winning the first title. They spent a lot of emotions as well in that week. And you saw the happiness of Pep Guardiola because that meant a lot for him. But Chelsea never tried to come back into the game, and it's baffled me.
I can't believe that. I really can't believe they were as timid. Or he sent out a team. That was Conte's tactics. If that was his tactics, when, I'm sorry, I want someone to write in, really, right into this channel here.
No.
And tell me what his tactics were.
You're talking snail mail, Andy. That's a long since
email me then.
Communication.
Email the channel. Because honestly, Richard, if you said to me, how did he try and win that game? I could only say, right, what he thought was, I'm going to defend for 80 minutes, hope that it's 0-0, and try and nick a goal with 5 minutes to go. Because I couldn't see another way they were going to win the game. I mean, the Chelsea fans, they must have gone back down that road thinking, wow.
But for a mishit volley, Alonso nearly stole them a point. And it would have been a steal. Had they taken a point from it, you almost feel they should have given it back. There was so little in terms of what they deserved from the game.
But Richard, Chelsea, they have a lot to play for. I mean, they're playing for a Champions League place, but it didn't look like this. I think they had a game plan that was clearly to see. But then throughout the game, the situation has changed. City went 1-0 up. Then you have to react. You have 2 strikers on the bench. You're bringing Morata on 2 minutes before the end of the game. I mean, that makes no sense.
2 minutes. You turn the bench and you say to your £65 million striker who's played for Juventus, who's played for Real Madrid, go on then, son, get us an equaliser. Do you know what? If it was me, I might have turned around and said, do you know what? Forget it. Honestly.
And then the focus would have been on you rather than where it should be. I've been really
disappointed sometimes. And we watched the game today. What was yesterday? We watched Liverpool play.
We did. Newcastle.
Okay. And you said to me, we see a lot of games like that. But I understand why Rafa does that. Because he hasn't got the players.
It's a very good point.
But we're talking about the champions of England. Yeah. That's the difference for me. And that's why I find it much harder to accept what I've seen from Chelsea than what I saw from Newcastle yesterday. I get what Newcastle did, because they don't have the same kind of players as Liverpool. But that's a team that's been assembled for 500, 600 million or something, Chelsea.
You've got £100 million worth of striking talent, the two of them, Giroud and Morata, sitting on the bench. And you keep them there until 10 minutes from the end.
I have difficulty accepting that as a football fan and justifying it. Justify it. The only justification he would have had tonight was had he nicked a point. That was the only justification for me.
Well, if he was asking for the sack, if I'm Roman Abramovich tonight, I think I'll probably fulfil his wish and we get through the rest of the season as best we can.
I can't think Abramovich would be happy at that. He used to moan at Mourinho. No. If that had been Jose Mourinho served it up for a Chelsea manager, he got battered.
City almost. I keep saying this. Look, City will win. They've won this title. It's just a question of when we confirm that they've won this title. On the weekend, Liverpool into second, Manchester United yet to play. They go to Crystal Palace tomorrow. Spurs have fourth. Then there is a 5-point gap between Tottenham and Chelsea, who look like missing out on the Champions League again. Not this year, but obviously did previous year after their title success. History's repeating itself, it seems. And Arsenal, my maths isn't good enough. 13 points off the Champions League, is it?
13. They're gone.
130 behind.
Listen, they're looking
City.
behind them, not in front of them.
Yes, they are at the minute. They are. Burnley are on their tails. What a strange game. But it's why we keep coming back, because we are fascinated by it. We've got live football in the club tonight, as well as goals from all over Europe. Andy Kerr will be here to tell us all about it in just a moment. And we'll get the reaction to the two games that have been played today just as soon as we can.